Hello and welcome to another TNC opposition preview, and it brings me great pleasure today. I found one, a Rotherham fan, to introduce you to Steve Exley. Steve, first of all, how are you keeping?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good, thanks, man.
Really well.
I'm pleased you're good. I'm pleased you're good. Steve, let's start with a question that's probably going to frustrate you. Last time out, it was a 1-0 loss to Bournemouth. What were your main frustrations around that defeat? What didn't work for Rotherham?
Well, my main frustration was frustration because I don't know whether you saw the game. It was on Sky, but it was a very poor game. And when you consider Bournemouth's standing, ex-Premiership club, they were as poor as we were.
Really?
Well, poor. I don't think we were poor so much, but we do lack that edge. We had the three best chances, well, apart from their goal, of course, in the match. And the feeling at the end was real frustration. And I've not felt that frustrated for quite a long time, probably since Hugo's last-minute penalty way back when, I suppose we'll talk about that later. But no, it was really, really harsh. And also at the end, something that really irritates is when you find people lying down in 5 minutes of injury time, screaming and then feigning injury, so we can't get any momentum. But that's probably we need to get a little bit more streetwise because they certainly were. I mean, Lerma, I hope he's okay today. He's probably been in hospital all night the way he fell over.
Oh, Steve, this is going to be funny. And I must say, that's really, really good news for Norwich City because, of course, Bournemouth were allegedly meant to be up there as promotion contenders at the start of the season. So it's great to hear that they're still not performing well. And
well, I don't think that. I think they're playoffs at best. I mean, they played more long ball than we did.
I tell you, that is good news indeed. You're currently sitting just one place above the relegation zone. What have you made of your season as a whole? We're obviously now over that halfway mark. What have you made of it so far?
Well, it's been an odd season, like everybody's season has, because of the circumstances and the fact that I haven't seen us live for a year, like every other Well, you might have seen your club because I think you had 1,000 or 2,000 a couple of times, but we haven't, and we got promoted on points per game, and probably we weren't technically ready to come into this league. But it's been a season of development, and just in the last 6 weeks or so, we played Everton in the FA Cup the first week in January, and we played really well. It went to extra time. And that seemed to have given them a lot of confidence, and it's coincided with the change of formation as well. And players have picked up, and we've had some really good results. I mean, living in Derby, I mean, the fact that we've beaten Derby 1-0 and 3-0 has just made my year, frankly. We've given ourselves a very good chance, and we can actually cause every team problems. But whether we're good enough to sustain and make those problems count in terms of points sometimes is a doubt. It's like last night. We shouldn't have lost that game. We should have had at least a point. And there's little edges of quality in the opposition that mean that sometimes we don't.
A man that we must talk about now, Steve, is, of course, Paul Warne, Warneola, as you lot call it, and so do the Norwich fans.
Yeah.
Of course, he's been on the TNC podcast. I recommend to anyone, if you've not watched, if you've not listened to that yet, it's available as an audio exclusive on Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud. It's a fantastic watch, such a funny, passionate bloke. And what have you made of Warneola in charge of Rotherham? And how proud of him are you? Because he's a great manager, isn't he, Paul Warne?
Yeah, he is. I mean, Warne has been with us as player and fitness coach and then manager since I think he came 1998. He turned up.
Wow.
And I remember meeting him when he was a player and thinking, crikey, this guy's got a lot about him, because he was funny and very welcoming. And as a player, he was great. He made the best of what he had. He went away for 2 or 3 seasons. He went to Yeovil, Oldham, and then he did come back. Robbins brought him back in 2009, maybe. And he's been at the club ever since. He ended up in the manager's position when Kenny Jackett, who turned up for 10 minutes and then resigned. And that was a really hard season, and I don't actually think Warne really wanted the job. but he's grown into the job, and the way he manages. I mean, he manages from the point of the base of good human beings, people he can trust, and between them, they're all Rotherham people. All of them have played for Rotherham, except Matt Hamshaw, Matt Hamshaw was born in Rotherham but didn't play for Rotherham. He played for Sheffield Wednesday. And but yeah, Warne's played for Rotherham. Richie Barker played in the same team with him at Rotherham. The recruitment team, Rob Scott played in the same team, so he's in the recruitment. And we're owned by a guy from Sheffield / Rotherham who has a business in Rotherham. So
love it.
Yeah, it is. The club is as good. I've been going now 50 odd years. The club is as good as it's ever been, as far as I'm concerned.
Amazing, and a man that I'm sure you'll need him to stay, Warne. But of course, Steve, there's this lingering thought in the background because everyone knows he's very public about it. He's a die-hard Norwich City fan. Do you think that he'll manage us one day?
Yeah, I do actually. I mean, look, I don't think that it will take a huge amount for him to leave Rotherham.
Okay.
But every time you change manager, which you haven't done, thankfully, for the last 2 or 3 years, there's always that rumour that will Warne get tipped by Norwich. And I think if Norwich did come knocking on the door, it would kill him because he would have a dilemma on his hands. And I do think he'll end up managing you one day. But there again, he might use all his managerial energy with us, and by the time you ask him, he might fancy doing something else. Because I actually think seriously that his position, he could do all sort of kinds of jobs. He could be an inspirational speaker. He could make an absolute fortune speaking to businesses about motivating, looking after people, and so on and so forth. He's that good at what he does in all areas.
Yeah, and seriously, I have to plug it again for everyone watching this right now. You've got to listen to our podcast with Paul Warne because it genuinely is an incredible listen. He speaks about this exact dilemma that Steve's brought up there. You know, will he manage Norwich? What will it do with his emotions? It's all ram-packed in there, and it's available to listen on iTunes.
He's a very emotional guy, actually.
Yeah, he is.
He cries a lot.
He does. He loves it, and that's nothing wrong with a cry. Steve.
I love it. It makes me cry.
Steve, something that I hope I'm not doing on Saturday is crying because of the Rotherham forward line. Should Norwich fans be worried about what's coming up against their defence of the weekend?
Well, quite possibly. And we do pose a threat, and we can challenge teams. It's whether we can keep it tight at the back. We moved to a 3-5-2. As I say, about 6 weeks ago, which suits us more. And it's coincided with a return to form of big Michael Smith up front, alongside Matt Crooks, who won Championship Player of the Month last week for the month of February or January, I can't remember. It's February for this month. And it suited us. I mean, all right, we've lost the last couple of games, but we're always in the game and we pose a threat. We're not. Everybody has us down as a big hoofball side, but we mix it. We press high, we press quickly, and if we can disrupt your game, we can actually hurt you. Equally, you have lots of players that I've heard of. I mean, Wendy and Pookie and what have you. It does make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up.
Good. I hope you're scared, Steve. Weaknesses for Rotherham. Is there any areas that you think that Norwich City will hurt Rotherham on Saturday?
Well, up front, I actually think up front because we try and defend. We haven't got the quality of other teams.
Yeah, sure.
We've got good quality, but not the stellar quality of your guys. I mean, you've come from the Premier League. They're all. Probably one of your players earns about as much as our players earn together, which doesn't mean a lot when they go across the line. But yeah, you can hurt us. I think it'd be a good game. It was a bit like the game at New York, where you didn't really know what to do with us for quite a lot of it, and then of course that little extra bit of luck, misfortune, daft penalty, and suddenly we've lost a game that we should actually have won.
We should talk about that now, Steve. Actually, you've nicely teed it up for me as soon as you should mention it. Obviously, that game was in October 2020, and at that stage, Norwich City were kind of warming up. And as you said, and quite rightly so, and I have to be completely honest here, you absolutely deserved something out of that game. As a Rotherham fan, I would have been red raging at the fact that they were all three there. You know, it was an own goal as well. Rotherham conceded an own goal, didn't they? And then Jordan Hugols gets a 95th minute penalty to go and win the game, and it was daylight robbery. What were your emotions that day?
Well, the problem at that period, during that period, is that it wasn't the first time we conceded an own goal, but it was becoming a pattern. We were doing all right. We were maybe taking the lead. We did it against Huddersfield, took the lead, and then they equalised in the last minute. And it really, and that was an own goal as well. And it pained us. And I mean, I have to sit here and watch it on my sofa, so I can't smash anything up because it's my own stuff. But I did feel. And also your point about Norwich were only warming up. Well, we were only warming up at that point as well, because it's basically taking half a season for us to find a formation that is more effective than what we were playing with at that time, because we were playing with two wingers. We've lost our main star player from last season, Ogbeni, our flying right winger. He lasted a couple of games before he did his knee in training, and he's still not come back. So we've been shorn for a lot of the season of 4 or 5 players through injury for 3 or 4 months apiece.
Right.
So we're better positioned now to take you on, but I think you're in a better position now than you were then. So it's going to be a cracking game.
Fighting talk. Absolutely love it, Steve.
Oh, why not?
You started to mention a wee bit there about the type of players that Norwich City are going to come up against on Saturday. What sort of lineup are you expecting to see for Rotherham?
Well, you're going to get a couple of wing back. I think he'll continue and do 3-5-2. All being well, Smith and Crooks will be up front. A couple of wing backs. Matt Olasunde, who basically tore Everton apart. He looked a bit tired the other day, so there might be a little swap around them. Wes Harding has been an ever-present all season. We got him from Birmingham, so he might flick him onto the right-hand side and bring Ryan Giles onto the left, who we've got on loan from Wolves, who was at Coventry for the first half of this season. And we've got a back three then of the old war horses, Richard Wood and Icky and maybe Clark Robertson. So I know the team, and in goal will be the mad Swede Victor Johansson, who we got from Leicester's under-23s, who is mad and very big.
Absolutely love it. Steve, head-to-head over the years, Norwich City have won 17 games compared to Rotherham's 9 and 11 draws. So let's cut to the chase. It's the big question now. It's time for your score prediction, but the catch is, what is your head saying and what is your heart saying?
Well, first of all, I need to comment that Spud Thornhill usually got a beating after every game when you spawned a last-minute equaliser. But fortunately for him, I'm not allowed to go to games like him, but I'll do it over the internet. Okay. My head says a 6-0. My heart says a 6-0 away win. My head says, if we can get a point, I'll be happy. And if we can sneak a 2-1 win, then I'll be, running up the street with no pants on.
Steve, honestly, that is the best score prediction we've had on the opposition preview all season. Thanks so much for coming on the show today. Really appreciate your time, mate.
You're very welcome. Good game on Saturday. Let's hope so.
Thank you so much to everyone as well for watching right now. Don't forget, we've got another TNC watch-along. We're kicking off at 2:45 on Saturday. Of course, full match build-up and alternative fan commentary throughout with Jack and myself. Thank you all for watching, and hopefully the next time I see you lot will be as we breeze to a lovely 3 easy points against Rotherham. On the ball, City.